So things did not go to plan. This is Renaissance where signs of missed life. So take opportunity while maybe an Uber driver comes out here. Doubtful. AAA possibly, if not foot. So it's a good time to reflect. So a couple things I wanted to highlight that I've internalized, but I thought maybe you all have something else that you kind of internalize or whatever. So let's go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We got 5 levels of goals, and some people are like, "Oh, I've actualized." No, this is it's a state of being. So theoretically, right, you ebb and flow. So if we start with the bottom one, it's physiological. So I'm breathing. I got food. I got water. I got shelter. Sleep, which we'll get into in a second. So I got that stuff. Hence not freaking out. Let's go further. Safety and security. Health. I got my health. Employed. I'm actually on property. Family. I got my dogs here, but I still got connection with cell phone. And I got some good neighbors that I connected with. And then social ability. I kind of think about like rapport building and genuine, not just like, oh, that's my acquaintance. Like, no, like, hey, I'm actually the first to admit I will never, I shouldn't say never, I'm tough. It's really rough to remember first names for me. So either way, but just be able to build rapport and like establish genuine relationships. So I got that right now. And then we got love and belonging. Well, I feel love and belong, but I'm alone, if you will, at the moment. I got my dogs, but I still have my cell phone and connected. So really, I wouldn't say I'm isolated, but I'm in a little bit of a bubble right now. But with that being said, we got self-esteem, and so I do have the confidence. Hence why I'm not stressed out. And often I would associate why we stress is ignorance or fear that we don't have the resources to handle what's at hand. So I'm going to go over everything I kind of consolidated and reorganized to see what resources I have available beyond myself to get me to where I need to be and what I need to do. And then we go to self-actualization. So right now, bottom line is, the problem statement is, I am not able to drive my vehicle, and I believe it's either because of the battery or starter. Either way, it either needs to be remedied, which is beyond my skill set or resources available. So I am reliant on someone else. I tried to get an Uber out here, and they said that all Ubers are busy, which I imagine there's no Ubers out here, but I decided to try them. I did do AAA. They're supposed to get back to me. We're still dealing with it. I think this is like day 7 without actually like grid power. I could probably ask the neighbors, but like I have nowhere to be, so I'm not necessarily stressed. House is locked up, and I'll be able to do stuff out here. So that's where we're going there. So next, some really good references. Field Manual 7-8. It's superseded, but it's far from obsolete. And then you got FM or Field Manual 3-21.8. And then Training Circular TC 3-21.4.76. So what I emphasize here is, once I realize I'm stuck, is all right, now I need to consolidate and reorganize. So what I'll go over here next is I kind of did exactly what I said: consolidate, reorganize. Because I want to see what resources I have that I can kind of Apollo 13 out. And pretty much once the ones I've established, if I exhaust those for whatever god awful reason, then I might start, stressing out a little bit. But we're far from that. I'm really just inconvenienced right now. But it's kind of something to define, based on those references, the process that involves organizing and strengthening a capture position defense. So this is actually my position. And so then you have MWE, and we're going to refer to that as men or personnel. W for, we're going to call it whatchamacallits, and equipment. So I've kind of done an inventory of what I have myself. I got my 2 dogs. Capabilities and limitations are kind of implicit for me. But obviously there's assets and liabilities, which is a whole separate topic. You can kind of go into a SWAT analysis. Beyond that, I kind of got like, what's my most probable course of action? So I go into contingencies. Like, what's the worst thing? I mean, I think I've heard like coyotes out there howling. I'm not really fear of snakes. The storm's already passed. I'm not going to starve. But most probable is I stay here longer than I care to. And I accept that. If I really, really want just walk back home to Augusta. But I have a PACE plan, or contingency, PACE standing for primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, and we can even extend that to PACERS, which you get creative at that point, and then you start maybe making the R like reserve, and then the S like shit sandwich. I just made that up. So with that being said, next thing I kind of done, this is all implicit, it's internalized, so I just wrote it down to kind of help me guide it, because I just do, you come to a point that you be, and and you do, and sometimes when you do it so much, you kind of, at least for me, I struggle to articulate what I'm actually doing, because it's muscle memory, it's automated, whatever have you. So I go to priorities of work. These kind of coincide with these references and some other stuff, but again, take these with a grain of salt, or relatively. So continuous security, right? I am not in a war zone, but the bottom line is there are always threats and opportunities, right? So hence like a SWAT analysis. So threats like here for continuous security. So like what I did right now is I opened my window so I can hear outside, because there are things moving on out there. I got my dogs, once their ears perk up, it's kind of like a passive security measure. And I'll go out periodically because I did have a fire going on, make sure that's safe. So, just situational awareness, just be familiar with where you're at, what's your all plan. So with that, I'm basically going to hold here until I get the assistance or resources I need for my truck. And then worst case scenario, I'll have like a line in the sand where I'm like, all right, I just need to say this is some cost or loss, and then figure out how to get back to Augusta, because I do have work at some point. With that continuous comm, so I have some limitations with batteries, which I'll go over, but I do have some comm stuff here. The irony of it is I have been overly prepared for the past week, and I thought this was going to be a quick turn and burn trip, which it wasn't. So I'll take the hit on that, but needless to say, like, I'm comfortable enough with that. But like, for example, last time I was here, I had a generator, I had Starlink. You would never have known that I was pretty much off the grid. Mission preparation. So basically, like, what's my problem statement? What's my problem set? What do I need to do? What's the near, far, and deep? Bottom line is the end state is to get in my vehicle operational to get back to Augusta and Charlie Mark continue mission in life. But between that, if you think of like big rocks, small rocks, medium in between, fill in the jar, there's just stuff that I need to do here and then want to do here. And then going back to men or personnel, whatchamacallits, and equipment maintenance. That's just kind of care of equipment. It doesn't really do any good if what you have doesn't work. So I consolidate stuff, and once I get off here, I'm going to kind of go through and do a little bit more of a fine comb. I did more of a macro, like, all right, this is all the stuff that I think that, if I could fill it in a bag in a time constrained environment, this is what I would take, kind of Hunger Games mode. But I do have some other stuff available. So with that being said, that's kind of what's next. And then water resupply. So I will show you my fridge is stocked. It might not be cold, but that's all right. And then I'm happen to be by a lake. Oh, and then I have neighbors, and there are amenities here, even though I'm in the middle of nowhere. Mess plan. That's chow eating, which I will show you. I have plenty of food, and if I want to, I have ways that I can heat it up and whatnot. So not concerned with that. And then last but not least is rest and sleep. So these actually are by design in a certain order, because like if you don't have so-called security, you subject yourself to vulnerability to all these other things, right? So think of like a terrorist attack, right? First responders go in. You can think about like the poor firemen or EMS. They'll like go do a job, but then they'll be subject, to the culprit, the criminal, whoever have you. They're a threat because the police haven't been there to secure. So essentially, you need security to do anything in life, and I think that's taken for granted a lot. So like you have to feel secure, you have to be secure. It should be intuitive, it should be innate, it should be tangible. So with that being said, I'm going to go to two more things. So SEALs is this clever little thing called stop, look, listen, smell. So anytime you go to a different environment, naturally, usually without you recognizing, unless they're very extreme, your senses like flare up. So and what's cool about the dogs too, because like their strongest sense is their nose. I was at Home Depot yesterday. I can only imagine like all the stimuli they were dealing with all their senses, because their noses were going everywhere, and it was like just overload. Their CPU RAM was like crashing, but in a good way. So like for example, out my window, but it feels like it's a deliberate effort. Like stop, look, head on a swivel, listen, and so you're actually like actualizing to that environment. So once you create a baseline, like earlier, like I've already done seals, and it's just a natural thing. I heard like these coyotes howling, and I know like the distance, relatively speaking, the direction, because I know where they were. I know they're probably not swimming. So between me and the lake, they're probably within a football field or two. So hence like 100 to 200 yards, and I could be off. Hopefully that they're further out. And then smell. There's these things called the 5Fs that I have been brought up on, and they're usually signs of some sort of a living matter, whether it's a two-legged creature or a four-legged. So 5Fs, if I remember correctly, is freshly turned earth, food, feces, fuel, and fire. So those are usually signs that something, such as a human or a coyote or whatever, was there, which is good to know because you want to know what's in your backyard. You should always be tuned in. And then last but not least, one thing that I kind of have ingrained in me is what's called the OODA loop. All right, so you observe, orient, decide, act. So you just don't do that once, but like a lot of people already do that. It's just like, I don't know, I just do it, and that's what it's called. So that's what it is. So there's a lot more going on in this RI rather than AI, but I just want to kind of highlight some of the stuff because I know like when younger, maybe I was doing this stuff, but it was messy. But once you kind of have some sort of framework, you can kind of like run it through your head. For Joe, like Maz was like, when I start getting stressed out, I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. And then like, all right, what does self-actualization look like in this moment? And then I'll do like a quadrant, and it'll be a control, influence, yes, no. So if I can't control it and there's no influence, I just kind of write those off, right? If I have yes to control, I dominate that. That is mine. There's no margin for error. And then influence, that's like the art. So like art, science, waste, or sunk. And that helps me streamline and operationalize and specialize my care, attention, resources to the problem at hand. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of an orientation. We got in here. Bear with me. All right, so I consolidated and reorganized. So what you'll see is I got a handful of things here that I pulled out. Mountain Dew. This is one of those things you never really read, but I'm going to be here for a while. Maybe there's something I didn't know, like, hey, hit the who dilly, whatchamacallit, and it works. I got this jump starter over here. What's kind of cool about that, I got this. I know it's going to be 12 volt DC, hence right here. So I'm pushing 13 volts right here. I know my car usually needs 12 to 14 to start. I've already tried it through various means, it's done. But if I had to, I know how to switch this around. Little USB charger right here. There's a Ryobi battery pack with 110 AC. I think it's some USB chargers and a light. Right here, it's kind of cool. I just picked this up. So this takes a Ryobi, and these are 18 volts, and this converts to 12 volts. So I got that. I got another little Ryobi. You notice the theme here. That I can charge stuff. Got a ghost pistol. Holster identifies as a Glock. I got a handful of batteries, which I need to start being conservative Apollo 13 style. But I kind of check what I have here. I got a tool set, wallet with cash. Cash is king. It's another charger, USB-C, solar panel. Ain't gonna do anything right now, but it might come in handy. Another source of energy, pen, paper, and then got some other stuff up here. Cable management is key in case I need anything else. And then we talk about provisions, rations. I got plenty of food, so I'm not worried about going hungry. And sometimes this is the greatest time because you never know what you can come up with. And then going over to the fridge that's not powered on, as you can see, I have plenty of fluids to stay hydrated for me and the pups. And then the freezer's not working, but it was my cold stuff I was trying to retrieve. I will go through there, do an inventory to see what's good, what's not, what's good I will retain, and then what's bad I'll go and dispose of so it does not contaminate or rot the other stuff. So all I really see this right now as a fun little opportunity, and we'll see what happens. I will again conduct the OODA loop, see what longer it is. At a certain point, I'm just gonna have what is called a DP, decision point for decisive action, which I'll basically determine if AAA is coming tonight, and then that I'll make sure I'm good, comfortable, catch some Z's with Babs, and then come up with a game plan for first thing in the morning. For example, figure out when Walmart's gonna open up, if that looks like me walking, or if I can get a ride. And then really my end state tomorrow is to report back in my house and go from there. Hey, so drop any comments in there. I'm kind of curious what you think. Like, oh, that's stupid. That makes sense. I didn't think about that. Did you think about this? How are you going to use this? Oh, you could have thought about that. This is like really this opportunity for me to share a showcase. But also I think what's really cool or more important is, you know, what would you do or what have you done? I do have other stuff here like a chainsaw, a ladder. Not really too concerned. I might even go take a midnight dip in the lake. So anyhow, we are good in the hood. This is Renaissance Chick, where messes are signs of life. Click subscribe because apparently that's a thing, and I appreciate everyone's support. Oh, and the 2 magazines. I got one that's loaded and one that's ready to be loaded. But I don't plan on using that. So to you all, enjoy. Take care. Bye.